Hey guys, today I thought that we were going to take a look at one of my favorite plane ever, and I mean ever, in War Thunder. That is, of course, the Israeli A4N, also called Ayit. Now, why do I like it that much? First, it has 4 missiles, but not any missiles. It has 18G missiles at a BR of 9.3, which is already something that should get you thinking that this is not just any plane. But, you know, maybe it has 4 very shitty missiles, like the SRAM. Oh boy, you'd be wrong. It has access to 2 Shafir 2s, which are all right for close range, but mainly it gets 2 AIM-9Ds, which are by far one of the best missile at this BR. So what is this plane exactly? It basically is an Israeli equivalent of the A4M that we do not have at the moment in War Thunder. Compared to the standard A4E you find in the US tree, this gets almost 40% more engine thrust while only gaining about 1,000 pounds. So you, in essence, get a very agile fighter, which will outturn any plane, and I mean any plane, in the first 3 or 4 turns it does. It also gets a pair of 30mm Adens cannons, which are very decent for the BR. They do have quite a low muzzle velocity, and I would prefer something like on the US A4, which is, I think, 20mm cold cannon, but the Adens are fine, I guess. Now, while making this video, I learned that Ayit meant eagle in Hebrew, and let me tell you, once you get used to this plane, you'll know why it's called like this. Speaking of this, how exactly should you play the Ayit? What I usually do is climb. What you'll find at this BR won't be able to pose a significant threat in head-ons. Typically, the F3H or the F4C have awful radar missile. The only thing that you should pay close attention to are the MiG-21R13, which have the R3R missiles. And if my memory serves me right, it doesn't trigger the RWR, which is something that caught me off guard more than once. But once you're up high, avoid head-ons, and you will want to only shoot at flareless planes. What will usually pop up first are F104s. Now, there's a very funny trick you can pull with them. You just have to avoid the head-on, and thanks to your great one-turn performance, turn around and shoot an AIM-9D after them. Thanks to the high altitude, these missiles almost get a 5-kilometer range, so they have no chance of escaping you. Once there's no interesting targets left up high, you'll want to look for targets beneath you. Typically, you already got 2 kills with your 2 AIM-9Ds, and you're left with the Shafirs. Now, the Shafirs are good missiles, but they are extremely slow and lack any meaningful range. Typically, I'll shoot them at a maximum range of 1.6 to 1.8 kilometers. If someone is really slow, you can get in the 2.2 kilometer range, but it won't go much further than that. So what you'll want to do is either get someone distracted or just be close enough to be able to guarantee a kill. And you must not forget to lead the missile. It gets an uncaged seeker, so you really need to take advantage of it the most you can. Number 1 rule to have good games with this plane is don't get too slow. And even though it got fixed some time ago, the wings still have a tendency to rip if you pull more than 9G for about 3 to 4 seconds. So you really need to keep a look on that. Only shoot at flareless planes, and most of the time, out of 4 missiles, you should be able to get 3 kills consistently. I think I stand at about 1,400 kills for 250 deaths, which speak more of the strength of the aircraft at this BR than anything else. Now, there's only one aircraft which you can't really deal with, and that is, of course, the polar opposite of this plane, and another contender for the strongest plane at this BR, the Italian 9.3 Premium, the Ariete. Honestly, if you see the Ariete anywhere near you, it should be a priority target, but only if he's distracted and you can launch an AIM-9D at him. But if he's not, just run. You can't do anything against it. So why is this plane still a 9.3? Because I think you could say it really is overpowered. I think the reason is the same as why the Ariete doesn't go up in BR. If you were to put them at 9.7, for example, they would face 10.7 planes. So that means that most of the planes will suddenly get flares, negating any advantage this aircraft has. After all, it is still an A4 Skyhawk. And at 9.3, it really is the highest step before its airframe becomes completely useless. You would face planes with astronomically higher performance flares, and they would turn circles around the Ariete, making it essentially dead weight to a team. So it really, really is like so many other aircrafts in a difficult situation, balancing-wise. Put it any higher, and it gets absolutely walked on by everything. It's one of these planes that would either destroy everyone or get destroyed by everyone. The issue, like so many times, is BR compression.
I think it slipped under the radar of most people because 9.3 is maybe not the most played BR at Dane.
Looking around, not too many people seem to be complaining about this plane, and I think that's fair, as it still requires at least a minimum of thinking. Unlike the A-10s or the Su-25s being able to shoot at flareless planes and head-ons with all-aspect missiles. Now, I would really hope they would add something like the A4M for the USA in the next update, as I think it gets access to even more crazy armament options, such as 5 gun pods or even AIM-9Ls. It would also get access to the later Maverick variants, such as the G, F, and Ds, laser-guided bombs, and the AGM-45 Shrike, which is an anti-radiation missile based on the AIM-7 Sparrow. But knowing Gaijin, that may take a while to appear in-game, as they are more focused on bringing more ultra-modern tanks and aircraft in-game instead of expanding what we already have. Again, I think it's fair because that seems to be what drives the hype around the game, but sometimes a few additions, like the F-106 that just got announced, would be absolutely great to see. Anyway, coming back to today's topic, I think it's also not a very commonly played aircraft. It also is a plane where the stock grind is really abysmal, and you have to play it in a very different way than basically all other aircrafts at its BR, given the fact it's one of the last subsonic. The matches in the background should have given you an idea of how exactly to play this aircraft, but once you get the hang of it, it becomes very natural. It really is a supporting fighter, and you wait for opportunities to shoot your missiles. Never engage in prolonged dogfights, and if you do, make sure you're alone and you won't be third-partied. That's why you also really need your team to be nearby so that you always have the possibility to get help in a relatively short time span. I'd say this truly is one of the hidden gems in this game, as once you master it, you're able to absolutely win most of the matches you play consistently. I usually don't cover ground RB, but this plane is specially suited for it as it gets access to the AGM-65 Mavericks at the lowest BR in the game. Overall, you're able to bring a loadout of 3 Mavericks, 2 Walleyes, and 2 AIM-9Ds, which is extremely strong at 10.0. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I look forward to reading them. If you have any ideas of aircrafts to review, don't hesitate to comment on what you would like to see next. I was thinking either the CL-13B in the German tech tree or something like the Area T. Hope you guys have a great day, and see you in War Thunder.